Welcome back to Grant Writing Made Clear. I am your host, Dr. Trinette, and today we're talking about the fuel and routines that make focused writing possible. Well-being is a strategy, and we're talking about that today. My guest is Julia Ambrozy, a registered dietitian and certified health and wellness coach, and the founder of Your Balanced Plate. Julia's work is all about practical, sustainable habits, not perfectionism, no start over Mondays. You'll hear her talk about that in today's episode. This is really meant for you to be able to keep your energy steady throughout the proposal season. So in this conversation, we'll build a focus-friendly day. We'll talk about what to eat, smart snacks that you should eat to prevent afternoon crash, how to time caffeine so it doesn't impact your sleep. We'll talk about one-pot meals. We'll talk about 15-minute weekly meal planning that you can rinse and repeat during a grant sprint. We'll talk about how to eat healthy while you're traveling. So many good points in today's episode. Grab a notebook because you'll finish this episode with one breakfast, one lunch, and one dinner that you could implement ASAP, as well as a 5-minute habit to start tomorrow. Let's get into it. Welcome to Grant Writing Made Clear. The truth is, the grant writing process isn't always clear, but with the right guidance, proven actionable strategies, and expert insights, the process becomes easier, simpler, and yes, clearer. I am Dr. Trinette, your host of Grant Writing Made Clear, and a former nonprofit president turned distinguished professor and behavioral scientist with 2 decades of grant writing experience. I remember what it was like to be a busy nonprofit leader with little time, but big financial sustainability concerns. Over the years, I have transformed my skills from securing $1,000 foundation grants to winning multi-million-dollar federal grants. I created this podcast in response to the grant writing coaching requests I've received from nonprofit leaders, entrepreneurs, and professors over the years. Join me each week as I reveal insider strategies and share key lessons that turn wishful thinking into winning applications. Pull up a seat and get ready to be inspired, empowered, and transformed. Whether you're a beginner or a pro looking to sharpen your skills and create a life you love, you're in the right place, my friend. Let's get started. Welcome to Grant Writing Made Clear, where your purpose is my goal. I am excited to be here today. Today we are talking about fueling our focus, our energy, and our well-being so we can do the work that we want to do in the community. My guest today is dietitian and health coach Julia Ambrozy, who is founder of Your Balanced Plate. Julia, welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. So excited to dive in.
Great. Would you tell us a little bit about yourself and what drove you down towards dietitian and being a health coach?
Yeah, great place to start. So I am originally born and raised from a very teeny tiny town in small town America in Appalachia. If you are aware of that area of the United States, we have a lot of socioeconomic and health disparities. And so being around the nutrition field was something that I had experience with my entire life, everything from food insecurity to seeing how socioeconomic status really can impact health. So I received both my bachelor's and master's in food and nutrition sciences. I did my dietetic internship down at Advent Health Orlando in Orlando, Florida.
Yes.
So I went all the way from Ohio, West Virginia, all the way down to Florida at 21 and had the best experience there.
Yeah.
And I reside and do Your Balanced Plate, so my private practice here in the greater Cleveland, Ohio area.
Oh, okay, great. Awesome. Well, I'm really curious about how you can help us to be better positioned to do the work we do. Many of us who are listening write grant proposals, and that can be really intense, and it certainly requires a lot of focus. And would you share with us your best tips for meals that would help us be positioned to focus and dive deep into grant writing?
Absolutely. When it comes to grant writing, of course, as you know, and your listeners know, you need to be on your A game, right? We
Yes.
have to be ready to go. And so there's a few different aspects of our plate that we want to really incorporate here. The
Okay.
first is protein, the second is fiber, and the third is fun. So let's dive deep into what those three look like.
Okay.
Protein and fiber, it's kind of the secret sauce here. That's going to be what keeps us full and focused for longer. Okay. And
Okay.
so when we think about the protein foods, we probably know that that's going to be our steak, that's going to be our chicken, our turkey. But there's a couple other foods and maybe food types that you might not know about.
Okay.
Yes, we're going to see eggs, but also beans and nuts. This is something that we can see, especially with snack food. I don't know about you, but a lot of my clients aren't pulling out a chicken breast at 2 o'clock when they just need a little something,
Yes.
something, right? But they
Yes.
might be reaching for a handful of mixed nuts. Right?
Okay.
The next is going to be fiber. And so when we pair protein and fiber, yes, that is the sweet spot for that feeling of fullness. This is also going to be very helpful for us in our long-term satiety, meaning that feeling of fullness we feel over a couple hours, right? So we don't want to be eating, feel really great, but then an hour and a half later, we're going back to the cupboard having more chips and cookies.
Mhm.
Fiber is going to be those foods that, yes, are in our fruits and veggies, but also whole grains. So we're thinking, yes, more beans here, but the whole grains like the oatmeal and the whole wheat pasta, the whole grain pasta, whole grain rice, those items like that. It's going to be adding what we think of bulk to our meals, right?
Right.
Thinking about that fun piece, I am super big, especially with grant writing. You have to be loving your life, right? And you have to enjoy your meals a little bit. And so I
Yes.
think while we have all seen the Pinterest boards of the really, really nice looking, but if we're being honest, gross and unseasoned chicken breast and white rice. Okay, we all know what I'm talking about. Maybe a little bit of broccoli for some color on there.
Yes.
I'm going to be honest with you. Fantastic for maybe a week. Try me on day number 8. We're not going to be moving the chicken meal prep, right?
Yes. Yes.
And so the fun part of your meals, I'm telling my clients, have something that you like. If that's going to be a cookie with your dinner, if that's going to be the other night I had the most delicious mushroom risotto, just absolutely phenomenal. So I
Okay.
had my chicken, my salad, and then my fun was my risotto.
Okay.
Thinking about the other fun things that we can have on our meals, that also could be just fun sauces. For me, I had like a 1-pot meal last night and it had the most beautiful, delicious sun-dried tomatoes and oil. It was just delicious. I posted it on my story.
I saw it actually.
Yes.
Yes.
It was actually, when I tell you, I had so many people slide on me like, send me this recipe. Like it went over
Including me,
very well.
please. Yes.
Yes, literally.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say in full when we are thinking that we want to be on our A game. We want to be loving what we're doing and we want to be living that in all aspects of our life. Look at your plate, look at your snack, your dinner, your breakfast. Identify your protein, your fiber, and your fun. It will set you up for success.
Okay. I like it. Protein, fiber, and fun.
Yes.
Okay. I think I have that. And is it a certain amount, a certain number of grams of protein, cups of fiber? Yeah.
That's a great question. I truthfully say no, if I'm being honest with you, especially in a lot of the work that I do. And
Okay.
for whoever's listening, feel free to add me on social media at Your Balanced Plate.
Yes.
I post tons of content because this is quite literally my job. And what we think here is that we're diving deeper into our body's hunger and fullness cues. And so this is really the bread and butter of what I do as far as in the nutrition space. It's help our clients not only have the mental capacity, for example, for grant writing, but you're also listening to your body. And when we say listening to our body, it can almost sometimes sound cliche of like, oh, well, I'm feeling sick. Of course, I'm going to take a sick day. Of, oh, I'm feeling stuffed. Of course, I need to unbutton my pants. But before you need to unbutton your pants, you have a feeling of fullness there that we might not have noticed before. Before you see a clean plate, round of applause for the Clean Plate Club, we might not actually be associating mental cues, emotional cues, and physical cues on that deeper level. So yes, there is lots of nutrition, sciencey stuff on the back end, but I tell my clients, don't sweat it. Don't overcomplicate something that you don't need to overcomplicate. Start with the protein and the fiber, have your fun, and just honestly listen to your body. Your body will not lie to you because it's quite literally You are biology. Like you are a lot more powerful than I think you're giving yourself
Yeah.
credit.
Yeah. And is that the tip you would offer to those of us who were raised in the clean plate club like myself, where you had to clean your plate before you could get up from the dinner table? Is that what you would suggest?
I would. And I have to say that I am really big on putting your hunger on your own feelings. So, for example, when we're thinking that, like, oh, my stomach's growling, I need to have something. I need a protein, I need a fiber right then and there. What are those easy to grab things? But then when it comes to mealtime, again, we're raised in this must have a clean plate. You must finish your dinner. I made you dinner. You
Yes.
better like it
Yes.
before you're getting up from the
Yes.
table. At
Absolutely.
at that point, what we can do is foster the next generation. What we're going to notice at that point of those children that grow up, we're going to have more tough relationships between food, body, and self. This idea that, okay, well, my 15-year-old body could clean my plate and maybe my metabolism wouldn't show it. But
Mm,
suddenly, my 25-year-old self, my 35-year-old self, my 45-year-old self
yeah.
can't possibly do the same. And is there something wrong with me at that point? And
Yeah.
that's huge. That's huge.
Very helpful. And I heard you talk about the one pot meals, right?
Yes,
So many of us are super busy, right? We
yeah,
are super busy at
of
work.
course,
We
of
have
course.
families, whatever the case is, other commitments outside of work.
Sure.
Any tips for one pot meals, two ingredient meals? Like, what would you suggest for us?
So I'm going to sound like a broken record, and I don't even care right now, but all you have to do, okay? We all have our kitchens, our pantries, they're full of condiments, let's be honest. Like we
Yes.
all have all the sauces, all the seasonings, like we all
Yes.
have that, right?
Yes.
But once you pick your protein and once you pick your fiber, unpopular opinion and hot take, you can make any meal you want with that. So when you go to the grocery store, rather than being overwhelmed with a laundry list
Mm,
of, I need to get the bread, I need to get the milk, I need to get the eggs, I need to get this. When you're making your grocery list for your one pot dinners, go ahead and categorize in your head what proteins, what fibers do I want to eat this week, and how can I mix and match?
mm,
That one pot meal you saw, I don't eat pork. For me, I'm allergic to pork. So I eat a lot of chicken, sausage, chicken meatball alternatives. So for us, when we go to the grocery store, we'll get a pack of chicken meatballs, and maybe like a thing of ground beef. And for us, then we can pair that with, okay, well, tonight, and I'm saying this honestly, tonight we're going to have the ground beef with our whole grain tortillas, and that's going to be taco night for tonight.
hmm.
Last night we had our delicious one pot dinner with the
Yes.
orzo. That was fantastic. So my biggest tip for you would be when it comes to the one sheet pan, one pot, whatever
Hmm.
that looks like,
Hmm.
identify your starch. That could be your veggie, that could be your whole grain, whatever that looks like, and then have that alongside your protein, and you can't go wrong.
Love it. Thank you.
Yeah.
And now I'm also thinking about just a typical day. Many of us will have breakfast, lunch, dinner,
Yeah.
and then there are those of us, I've been trying intermittent fasting. And so
Yes. Okay.
I'm not necessarily having breakfast. I'm starting more around
Okay.
lunchtime.
Okay.
What are your recommendations for us? Do you recommend we start with a big breakfast? Do you recommend intermittent fasting? Where are you with this?
Very, very good question. So I actually have a pretty big background in intermittent fasting in the research side of things. And so
Okay.
I'm pretty well keen on this conversation of this
Okay.
hot topic. And I am going to just say it now. There is not really a whole lot of research and evidence alongside intermittent fasting versus just being mindful of what you're eating. And so
Okay.
rather than being at that point where it's 9:58, I'm holding out until 10 a.m. And even though I'm about to faint, I have those 2 more
Yes.
minutes until I can grab my hard-boiled egg from the
Yes.
fridge. Unfortunately, and maybe I shouldn't say unfortunately, but fortunately for you, whoever is listening or watching this, we do want to emphasize that first meal of the day. And it, yes, has to do with our clarity and our focus, which is also important for grant writing. But number two, also our energy throughout the day. So we have heard all throughout our entire lives, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. But
Yeah.
how can we set ourselves up for success that we're not at 2 o'clock p.m. going in and ravenously
Yes.
raiding our kitchen
Yes.
if we don't have that energy off of the get-go?
Yes.
I made a video about this not too long ago, and I think sometimes we get maybe confused a little bit, and maybe we overuse some of the jargon in the nutrition world, which of course we understand it's on social media, true. But how does it change your perspective when you learn that calories are a unit of energy.
Hmm.
How does this change your perspective of a low calorie item is going to give me less energy and a high calorie item is going to give me more energy?
Mm.
So suddenly my 200 calorie quick grab breakfast, yes, is great at 8 a.m. and 9 a.m., but at 10:30 a.m. I need another something. So instead of being scared of calories, and again, this is more of a conversation of like the greater scheme of like how we listen to our bodies and how we're moving forward in that way, thinking about not necessarily being worried about the grams of protein and the calories. We want to eat and listen to our bodies. And if you eat one of those, I'm thinking the little like crackers, the 100-calorie crackers versus a bag of chips, which might be 300 calories, not saying that one choice is quote unquote better than the other, but a great example of feeling how 100 calories, 100, like this unit of energy makes you feel against 200, 250, 300, like that, like unit of energy. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm, I
So
do.
I really would, in that mindset shift, kind of think about it in that way of like your quick and easy 300-calorie dinner. The reason why you're starving at 8:30 p.m. is because your body just needed more energy than that. Like
Mhm,
your body is talking to you of like, hey,
mhm.
I need more than 300 calories at dinner. I'm a grown adult. Like
Yeah,
maybe a kid needed that, but as an adult, I need more than that.
yeah, yeah. Thank you. That is helpful. And as we're talking about food, I'm also thinking about liquids. I'm
Yeah.
thinking about hydration. I know a lot of us are dehydrated.
Yeah.
I'm also thinking about caffeine because I know for
Yeah.
me, when I'm super busy, when I'm in the thick of grant writing, I promise you, I'm looking for some caffeine. And
Uh-huh.
so, if you could talk to us a little bit about the importance of staying hydrated. So, we have the
Yeah.
protein, the carbs, the fun, but
Yeah.
also the importance of having hydration, maybe electrolytes, and then the other
Yeah.
liquids that people are consuming, which a lot of times is coffee. Thoughts about that, times of day we should have caffeine if we're going to have it. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, also checking in with yourself about these as well. I am not the energy drink person, so I truthfully can't speak on like the different types of like Alani and Celsius and stuff like that.
Hmm.
However, I will say that if you're noticing your chest feels like it is going to, pop out of your skin, that might be a notice. When we think about like typical just like caffeine recommendations, I'm never too hard with clients on what their morning coffee routine looks like. I think we can all agree sometimes it is the one thing that gets us out of bed in the morning
Hmm.
is knowing we have our fun little latte cappuccino thing waiting for us in the kitchen
Yes.
or in line at Starbucks, Dunkin', wherever you're going.
Yeah.
So I'm never too hard on that. Now, thinking about what that looks like long term, we want to be mindful about our afternoon caffeine intake because we do not want that energy and that caffeine burst to dip into our sleep and wake cycle. And you
Mm-hmm.
have a good night of sleep under you, especially if you are heading into grant writing the next day. So important there. Thinking about recommendations. I want to say it's just about 2 cups of coffee a day, and we're moving forward in that way. Now, 2 cups of coffee, I think, is equivalent to like one of these energy drinks. If I'm being honest with you, I'm not the best because I'm not so
Yeah.
familiar with them,
Yeah.
but being mindful of that. Another thing that might not be so well known is that soda also has caffeine. Some soda is caffeine free, but a lot of soda, when we're thinking of like Coke, Diet Coke, Pepsi, Diet Pepsi, they do have caffeine.
Yeah.
So especially if you want to have just like a little something, something fun with your dinner, being mindful of what time of day you are
Okay.
having it, especially if you're going out for a later evening, even though it's not that much caffeine, it could be the reason why, oh, I can't figure out why I'm just so wired tonight. I can't
Yes.
possibly fall asleep. I must just be so excited from like the girls' night out that we
Yes.
had. It very well could be attributed to the caffeine in the soda that
That
you had.
Pepsi you had. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very well, very well.
Okay. And so you're recommending caffeine by what time?
I would say truthfully, you want to be mindful of not necessarily eating about 2 hours before you go to bed. But if
Okay.
I'm being honest on just like a personal recommendation, I would be mindful of caffeine about 3 hours before you go to bed.
Okay.
And that's including that like tiny bit that you'll get with your soda.
Okay.
Now, as far as like more caffeine, like a cup of coffee, for me, I know my body. I stop drinking caffeine at noon, like my morning, like coffee and whatever. I I usually am done by around 10:30, but if I notice I'm still sipping on my cup just because it's been a crazy day by like 11:30, 11:45, I just go ahead and forego it because I know my body and my sleep
Okay.
cycle. And I don't want to mess with my sleep. I'm big on the sleep.
Good for you. Good for you. I was
Yeah.
reading recently just about how I think there was a sleep doctor who was saying that when we don't get our sleep, we are losing brain cells that we may never get back. Like it really impacts us in ways that we have not thought about. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you want more coffee, right? And because then we don't
Yes.
sleep well, we want another cup of coffee,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
You're right about that. And speaking of sleep, so, one of the things that a lot of us do is we try to attend conferences because we're giving
Sure.
presentations at conferences or we're there to learn.
Yeah.
And it can be really difficult to eat healthy, eat well on the road.
Yes.
What are your tips for eating well on the road? Because many times when we're away, again, we're there to learn so that we can bring it back and incorporate it into our grant writing, or we're there to present.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are your recommendations for eating well on the road?
So I have several thoughts on
Okay.
this conversation.
Okay.
Okay. My first one, and it's going to sound silly. How many conferences are you going to every year?
That's a good point. Mm-hmm.
It sounds silly,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm saying this in terms of birthday parties. Okay. So that like cake and ice cream I had. Oh, at the birthday party, I was so crazy. The wedding cake. Oh my God. How many weddings are you going to in a year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many birthday parties are you going to? How many conferences are you going to?
Yeah.
Do not want that to get misconstrued of like, okay, well, since Julia said all rules are off, like, here I go.
Let's
you
go.
know, like,
Yes.
here we go. Yeah. I really, really would say don't be so hard on yourself, especially on the road. I know you are going to step on that scale the second you get back home and you're back
Yes.
in your bathroom.
Yes.
But I want you to remember also our weight fluctuates when we travel. We're not in our same routine. Our bathroom situation is not the same. Our sleep situation might not be the same. I
Mhm.
just want to put that out there as well.
Mhm.
Now, as for how can we look at eating well while traveling? First and foremost, make sure that you're eating enough, especially when you're in a situation you don't have access to your kitchen. You don't know when your next
Yeah.
meal is coming from. You don't know what
Yeah.
the conference breakfast situation is going to look like. Make sure that you're eating enough. Make sure you're taking a couple extra, if it's an apple or a mixed nut thing, just so you can make sure that you're okay in the middle of a conference, because who wants to get up and leave, right?
Right.
Thinking about how we can utilize tips and tricks for that way, we're looking at still protein, fiber, fun. If I'm walking into the conference for breakfast, I'm going to see my protein is going to be a little like sausage thing or whatever. My fiber is going to be maybe like a whole grain bagel like that. And then I'm going to have some fun and I'm going to top it with whatever fancy cream cheese they have. You know, that's going to be my fun there.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking about lunch, what can we do there? A lot of times we're going to have catered food. And again, I want us to remember what we're there for. So, oh, I had to
Yeah.
help me. I want us to remember what we're there for. And again, that's a good time. That's to embrace all of the learning, all of the skills that we're being surrounded by at that time. So yes, while it is important to maybe not so much pick fried food and food that's going to physically make you not feel as good and not much on your game, still remember, make sure you just have a protein, make sure you have a fiber, and you'll at least be concentrated. But again, it's kind of like travel. You got to let yourself live a little bit.
No, that's helpful to at least still shoot for the protein, the fiber, and the fun. And maybe it's a
Yeah.
little more fun than normal, but
Yeah. Yeah.
as a
And it could
framework.
also be, that could also be including like some alcohol as well. Like if you're going to one of these conferences and there's going to be a happy hour at the end of the night, just because you're on your A game and you might have weight loss goals doesn't mean that you can't indulge in a glass of wine with your peers, right? Doesn't mean that you can't have a fun little mixed drink. Never think that life has to stop and you have to say no to the things that are going to make what's life is fun, right? Those
Yeah.
are going to be the memories of the whole conference. You think about all the behind the scenes like antics that make it memorable, that's included for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I'm thinking about it. I appreciate this advice because I travel and I am always wondering, like, oh my gosh, what am I going to
Yeah.
do when I'm there?
Sure.
And so, though, let's say that maybe we've fallen off the wagon while we're away, or
Sure.
maybe we didn't travel. We're just here writing and it's been a chaotic week. We're working long days. And because we're working long days, we're doing carry out and delivery. We're not cooking. How do we get back on track? What's your advice for getting back on track when we've fallen off?
My biggest advice is that as soon as you recognize it, we're getting back on track. We're not waiting until Monday. We're not waiting until the first of next month. We're not waiting until the first of next year. Don't get me started on a New Year's resolutions. It is only September. Okay.
Okay.
My number one advice for you would be, okay, I'm at this conference until Friday afternoon. It's Wednesday morning. I feel not so good. How can I fuel my body in a way that feels good right now? And that's going to include apple and peanut butter this morning. I'm going to feel better by lunchtime, and then I can approach lunch when I get there. When I come home, the second I walk in the door, okay, I need something that's going to make me feel good right now. That might not be a salad. That might be chicken and dumplings. I need to make some chicken and dumplings.
Yeah.
Okay. Like just getting back into your routine. The second we notice that, you live your best life right now. And I'm sure you would say this for your peers as well. Like, don't wait to live your best life in a year from now. Live your best life right now. That includes, getting back on your health goals, getting back in the groove of things.
Yeah. So being deliberate, not just waiting and hoping, okay, in a couple of weeks I'll get back on, but as soon as possible, getting back on your routine.
No needed waiting. And at the end of the day, like, you owe it to yourself. I preach this to my clients and I post about it quite frequently, I would say. Said I never ask my clients for perfection. And never. I think it is so ridiculous to ask your clients to be perfect in every sense of the way, because I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
But I am asking you to show up for yourself.
Yeah.
And showing up for yourself includes making decisions that you know are going to make you feel better, not decisions that are going to make you feel skinny and feel, smallest in your closest body and fit into those tiny jeans in your closet. The decisions that will make you feel your best. And especially when you're at a conference or you're in the heat of grant writing, you need to feel your best.
You're exactly right. I mean, that's the whole reason why I invited you to come today, is because we need to feel our best to do our best work. And I think what we eat, what we consume is a big part of that. We think about food as a medicine, right? Like it really does impact how we feel, and it impacts how we think. And so, I'm really happy that you're here. And as I think about, you mentioned that you're on social media, and I follow you, and it's been great following you. And there are a lot of people on social media talking about nutrition these days, right? A lot of influencers.
Sure.
Are there any trends that we should be aware of, or a big misconception on social media that you would advise us to be cautious about?
I would advise you, and I think we all know this, but maybe we need someone to just say it. I would advise you against any get fit quick or get skinny quick. Anything that is going to promote not so feeling great. I made a video about this not too long ago. I'm sure you probably saw it. And I was like, listen, if your weight loss plan, if your life plan doesn't include, like we just talked about, birthday parties, it doesn't include conferences, it doesn't include the holidays that are going to be here. I'm going to blank and it's going to be Halloween tomorrow. I'm going to blank and it's going to be Thanksgiving in the next day. Before you think about, I'm going to stop life for the next 30-day ab killer challenge because I want to look a certain way or I want to feel a certain way. No diet is worth maintaining if you have to starve yourself or kill yourself to maintain it, right? So at the end of the day, truthfully, of all of the things you see out there, of all the people with abs that are telling you to buy their program or whatever, the biggest one I would say is that you have to find something that works for you and your life. And I think that's probably what my clients would say is their biggest aha moment, is that, like, I never knew I could lose weight or keep weight off and still have a brownie. I never knew I could do that because it was off limits. We deemed it to be in the can't buy from the grocery store. And then the second my 30-day ab killer challenge ends, where am I going? I'm going to get all of it, right? That's exactly where I'm going.
Yes.
So I would say that.
I think I hear you also saying that it doesn't have to be the Mediterranean diet. It doesn't have to be the high carb, low carb, high protein. It's about what's going to work best for you.
What's going to work best for you. And Mediterranean diet, great. High protein. I mean, again, I think sometimes a high protein diet, whenever we put names to this stuff of like low carb, high fat, high protein, whatever we're doing, can kind of sometimes make us think like, oh, well, I'm not going to have that salad because that salad's not too high in protein. Okay, well, I don't want you to ever live in a life where you feel like you can't have salad because it's has carbs or whatever, what we're thinking here. So I would say don't necessarily put yourself in a box. As a grant writer, I'm sure you probably say this and preach this a lot. You can't possibly get the results you're looking for being in the box. You have to be outside of the box. It's the same with our thought process here with nutrition. We can't say, I'm going to do entirely high protein. I'm going to do entirely keto. I'm going to do entirely, 75 hard or whatever that looks like for exercise and
Yes.
nutrition.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you have to think bigger than that. Like your life can't possibly be bound to 5 rules of do this and 5 rules of do not do this,
Yeah, where's the fun in that, right?
Right. Where's the fun of that?
Yes. And so I think my last question for you is for the listeners who are here and are saying, what is one thing I can do tomorrow?
Right.
What would you suggest? One thing they can start tomorrow to help them have the energy they need, the focus they need, the clarity they need to do the work they need to do.
I would say tomorrow you can become aware of what you're eating. We're not changing anything. We're not telling you to go to the grocery store right now, pick up your Instacart order, send it to the house before they close. I'm simply saying, if there is one thing that you can do tomorrow, it is notice what you're eating. When we bring to mind from I'm on autopilot, I'm in my office, I have to walk through the kitchen to go to the bathroom. Well, since I'm here, I'm going to take a little something. Become mindful of it. Yeah. Become mindful of what you're actually eating for breakfast. Become mindful of what you're actually eating for lunch, your snacks, how it makes you feel. The only thing that is, I would say, the hardest part about a journey where you don't know what your next move is when you're not listening to your body. And you can take that and multiply it across nutrition, yes. But even when you're in hardships in your life of like, I feel nervous right now, I feel stress, I feel anxiety, you can feel that feeling. And now let's compound that. How does food make you feel? What are we noticing about food? That would be my biggest thing, would be simply become mindful of what you're eating, what you're drinking, how you're feeling.
I love that. And I appreciate it so much. And I know one of the ways that I try to be mindful is by sometimes I'll use my Fitness Pal,
Sure.
An app, or Fitbit might have an app in it where you can log your food or journal. Sure. And so is that what you would suggest, that someone actually writes it down, or is it okay just to kind of be mindful without writing it down?
I actually have never, and I have never calorie counted a day in my life. And I pride myself on my clients never calorie count themselves either. I would say the biggest thing, especially with my Fitness Pal, it is that the calories they give you for the day, it doesn't matter if you're just recording what you're recording. I am a grown adult person, and if I logged into my Fitness Pal right now, it would probably say that I need like 1,200 calories for the day, which I'm going to be the very first to tell you 1,200 calories is what like a 7-year-old needs for a day. So please don't listen to like the number of calories and whatever, especially given if you're more active, if you're less active, whatever. Definitely consult someone who is licensed and qualified to give that information. But truthfully, I wouldn't even worry about logging it on an app where you can get data of like, oh, this was a good choice, this was a bad choice. We don't want to give food morality. Food's not bad, food's not good, food is just simply food. And so we want to, if you want to keep a log on pen and paper, on your notes app, on your phone, whatever that looks like, I would just make it in a way that you're not being influenced by that, because that's not the point right now. The point right now is just to bring to mind what we're doing. That's just the point.
Being mindful. Okay.
Yeah. That's the point. Just for tomorrow, like we said, like we're going to start small.
Awesome. Thank you, Julia, so much for being here with us. This was amazing. I feel like I learned so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. And would you please remind us where we can find you for those of us who want to continue to follow you after today?
Absolutely. So thank you so much for having me first and foremost. You can find me on Facebook as well as Instagram and LinkedIn. My name is Julia Ambrozy. I'm sure it's going to be in the caption or whatever of this, so you'll be able to see the spelling. My business name is Your Balanced Plate. I have a business page on both LinkedIn and Facebook. And what I do, pretty much like the people I serve are high-achieving, career-driven women who want to lose weight without diets. And so that's what the bread and butter of what we do here is. We're not counting calories. I'm not giving you a very steep calorie deficit to go by and just pretend like you're not starving when you go to bed at night. We do find what works for you. And that includes listening to yourself and putting yourself in a situation where you're living your best life today, because that's important. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Julia. Again, I appreciate you for being here. That's all for today, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I ask that you follow us on social media. Be sure to subscribe so that you are alerted the next time an episode is released. Take good care. Thank you for listening to Grant Writing Made Clear. I hope today's episode gave you inspiration, confidence, and clear information that you can turn into action. Remember, you are not alone. There's a whole community here striving for the same impact. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, leave a quick review to help more people find the show, and share this episode with others in your network. It really does make a difference. For more grant writing tips and resources, follow me on social media. Until next time, keep showing up, keep learning, and remain determined. I'll talk to you next time. Goodbye for now.